Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to PauperGeddon 2024, the #1 horror rock MTG festival in the world, where today we have got 656 players turning up to battle from round #1. We'll be going to round #2 though, because we had to start a little bit late. We had the top Pauper player event this morning where we had the finals of it, so it means that this broadcast is going to be starting round #2. But we're going to be kicking it off with a bang with myself, Will Hall, better known on the internet as Will Hall EXP, and the one and only, straight off the Pauper panel, my fellow country lady. It is Emma Parlow. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to today in general.
The vibe is buzzing. Everyone's super excited to play Pauper.
There's literally two massive halls of Pauper, right? Like trying to fit almost 700 players in one venue is pretty crazy in itself for anything, but for Pauper in general, it's crazy.
Before round 1 of PauperGeddon, I was just sitting in the commentary room, just like chilling out, and all I could hear was just like clapping and cheering because they were obviously starting the first round, and it's just like this. It's the gathering. Like, I'm going to be cheesy for a second, but
it's true. It's fact.
It's just like people love the gathering, and just the fact that everyone's really excited just to jam some Pauper, regardless of the result. It's really cool to see.
And there's so much food here. There's cheese here, which I know you'll have, but that's the easiest way to get you to any event is, hey, there's cheese. I mean, I'm there. I'm done. Let's go.
Italian food's pretty good. What can I say?
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not a Nando's, but whatever. Wherever we come with it. I had to say it. It's fine. But what we got going on today is obviously we are going to be bringing you a two-day GP style event. So that means today we're going to have 7 rounds of Pauper action. Then everybody's going to get invited back tomorrow. That's got an X and 2 record or better. 15 points is roughly where we think we got to be to get invited back to day 2. Where tomorrow we'll bring you 5 more rounds of Swiss before we cut to that top 8. But there's a lot of prizes on the line, right? There's a lot of things that people are playing for. So we're going to get them up on the screen for you all to have a little look at home of what people are battling out for. But basically, it's their share of 20,000 euros. You can see on the screen here, the champion today is going to be walking away with a nice 4,000 euros for the treble. Not only do they get to play 2 days of Pauper, well, they also get basically to pay for Amsterdam, let's be honest. But right now it's only around the corner. That's going to make it so you can almost bling out your Pauper deck, turn it fully forward if you want to. Then for the finalists, we go down to 2,000. For 4th is going to get themselves at 1,200. Then 5 to 8, they're going to get themselves 600 euros as well. But they also get these fancy, swanky play mats, which we literally have in front of us. I'll be able to show you in a second. And then filtering down to 64 places again, just not a little bit of cash, pays for your dinner, pays for a few drinks this evening, because this really is a event for the gathering. So as we come back to the booth, let's show off this playmat that we've got. So this is what everybody can get or win this weekend. Pretty swanky from RK Post. It's very RK Post-esque this as well. This is him up and down. He loves drawing his kind of horror art, and this is the event for it because everybody just the art here from all the artists, in fact, because there's like 5 or 6 of them in the room.
Yeah, there's 5 or 6 of them. They made the trip out before Amsterdam because they're going to be at MagicCon Amsterdam, so it makes absolute sense to have a nice weekend in Pisa and then just get the hustle and bustle of the Pro Tour and the MagicCon.
Well, this leads us nicely on to another segment of who we're going to actually be seeing in our feature match, having to make their way all the way from America across to come to this PauperGeddon event before Amsterdam. Who are we going to see in the feature match?
So we're going to see the one and only Gavin Verhey.
Verhey.
Wizards of the Coast fame, Pauper format panel member, and they've brought something really spicy, something a little offbeat, something...
Did he bring it or did he build it this morning, lastminute.com?
He actually built it last night.
Okay. Oh, yeah, he tweeted out that he was playing it, testing last night,
So. Gavin and Heisen, the Italian Pauper format panel representative, they were just like sitting in the corner of the hotel at like 2 a.m. figuring out the last sideboard option.
That's real magic.
This is like just magic as as it should be. Like, as we know, we've all like toiled over the 75th card before a Grand Prix or like an RC or something like that. So it's good. It feels good to me that a Wizards employee can still do that.
Yeah. Look,
it makes me feel good.
It makes me feel good inside that he can still brew, still turn up. And he's already off to a flying start.
Yes.
1-0, because we are starting in round #2 today. And so let's just get straight down to the feature match. Let's see how they're getting on shuffling up down there and see what they're going to be up against. So it looks like against Wolves Combo.
Yes.
Yeah, we just seen this in the finals of the top Pauper player. Did end up taking the L, though, against a Gates deck.
Yep.
So congratulations to that player for taking that one down. But Mardu Synthesizer, this is going to be the talk, right? This isn't a tier 1 deck. This isn't really, you can't go find this on websites at the minute. This is a brew deck where we kind of tried to mash 2 decks together, or is it we've taken a strong deck and just added some cards that we think are going to be really good in this meta?
Yeah, so Mardu Synthesizer, so it's essentially Boris synthesizer as we know it. Gavin's just adding the black for refurbished familiar and a couple of sideboard options. So we have a couple of tithing blades in the sideboard, but mostly we're adding the black for the refurbished familiar from Modern Horizons 3. That's seeing a lot of playing like Grixis Affinity.
There's a lot of it
in Orzhov Blade. We're seeing a lot of it right now in the event hall.
And we are off to the races. Gavin is going to be on the draw here, and we're going to see this a lot from this Wolves decks, right? Like, when I first played against this, I had no idea what was going to do. Why are you playing 1 mana 0/3s and Wall of Roots and all these different kind of cards? But what's the idea? Are we trying to make a bunch of mana to do something crazy with it, or are we going to be turning these 0/3 walls that we have defending into not having defending? What was that for people that
you're not really looking to attack with the Wolves deck. You're looking to do some nonsense with stuff like Quirion Ranger. You're looking to make lots of mana. Like Axebane Guardian is a really important card in this deck because it allows you to ramp on mana for the amount of defenders you have. And then you're looking for a payoff. So I believe this wall deck's a little different. It's not running Valakut Invoker. It's running the black version in Bloodright Invoker. So you just make a bunch of mana and then you just drain your opponent and win.
And how explosive can these Wolves decks get? If they get like the perfect draw, I imagine they can kind of empty their hand pretty quickly.
It depends on how competent the Wolves player is. As I said yesterday on coverage, Wolves deck is very similar to like Amulet Titan in Modern. There's a lot of different ways you can win, and it's the kind of deck the more you. I guess it's true for every deck, but the more you play it, the better you get. With Wolves decks, you're going to lose a little first before you start winning, which is something you see with Amulet Titan in Modern.
But we're going to see a Galvanic Blast here from Gavin's going to take out that Quirion Ranger. Doesn't want any, knows kind of the key cards.
Don't want no nonsense. Quirion Ranger's a messed up card.
He knows the key cards in this one. He's going to be writing it down here. Everyone knows Gavin. Love the Wizards of the Coast. Very popular on socials. Has his YouTube channels, etc. But one thing, unless you see him play, man, he is damn good at Magic. It really took me by surprise.
It's a real. It's like really impressive how you see even Pro Tour players, like highly competitive players, where it's just like, I'm gonna have a laugh and a giggle. Like Reduke's pretty good at this, and then the second the game happens, it's just like a switch, and they're just like dead in the eyes, and I'm just gonna beat you, and it's like that's really terrifying. To be honest,
it really is. Sat down opposite him, he is a mess. Like you speak to him face to face, the nicest guy in the world. As soon as he sits down for that table, that's it. In the zone, he's like, right, we're playing for stakes. And his synthesizer, he's really big on this card. Really loves this card.
It's one of my favorite cards that has come out for Pauper in the last 2 to 3 years. As you can see, Gavin just played the synthesizer first, so he can get the land into play. Just get that extra value. So
synthesizer, when it comes into play, ETB, exile top card of your library. You can play it to the end of turn. Also, when it goes to the graveyard,
when it leaves the battlefield,
so you can bounce it back to your hand for value. You can also sacrifice it. If you do end up sacrificing, you can get the 2/2 Samurai with Vigilance.
Yep, that's not a bad stat on a 1 mana red artifact. But a lot of Boris synthesizer decks have changed over the years. So you do your Glint Hawk, core Skyfisher nonsense. You sometimes run Kadol for Rebirth, so you can sacrifice it, make some goblins, and then exile the top card of your deck. And you get to do all this cool, fun, value game actions. And now Gavin's just playing the best card in Pauper.
I was about to say, it's ironic that we've got Fraven Inspector on the battlefield and you in the booth.
So what a quinky dink.
One downside, though, here, and we need to speak to Gavin about this, is... doesn't have an Emma Apollo clue token on the battlefield.
Yeah, he doesn't have one of my clue tokens. That is unfortunate.
But look at this value that's being generated now. We bounced it back. Exile top card, another Fraven Inspector. We can cast that, but instead we're going to cast this, see what else we've got.
Get
Here
Lembas.
Lembas. Really annoys me. It's not called Lembas Bread.
Yeah.
It's from Lord of the Rings. It's Lembas Bread. It's not Lembas. It's Lembas Bread. It's what it is. It sustains us for... Come on. where's my Lord of the Rings
there is somebody you can talk to about that.
Well,
who's in this building.
I've tried. But why were we going deeper in our deck there? Were we trying to find removal instead of playing the Fraven Inspector and getting the value from that?
Yeah, you're looking to get value. As you can see, our Wolves player has literally walled up. So getting through that damage is really tough. So this Glint Hawk might be able to chip in. But there are a couple of reach wall cards in the Wolves combo deck. So it'll be interesting to see how Gavin can just pave way damage this way. Whereas the Wolves player can just be yep, I can just sit here with my bunch of wall cards. Oh, look, I have my win condition, blah, 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 done.
Are there a couple of the walls that are key? If Gavin can get them off the battlefield, that is exactly what he needs to do. Or some of them, I guess, you can just sit on the battlefield that just do nothing. Because Pauper, especially when there's loads of red decks. Granted, we haven't seen a lot of mono red decks this weekend so far.
It's just really good at stymieing damage and, protecting your life total.
Like I'm looking at Axebane Guardian here, and I feel like that's one of the ones I need to be hitting. That looks like it can generate a lot of mana quickly. And as it's on the battlefield, I feel like a lightning bolt is being pointed at it by Gavin for top of your screen.
We saw earlier how Galvanic Blast fired off, killed the Quirion Ranger. That card's also going to be important because we have Metalcraft online, so dealing that 4 damage to a wall is really important because a lot of them tend to be O4s.
We're kind of doing our sequencing properly here, getting into combat first before we use this lightning bolt, which I think
Gavin's played this game before.
Once or twice.
Yeah, I think
it's like he knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? I told you, he's a very... Surprised me when I was playing with him. I managed to do a 2-headed giant event with him once, and I thought, okay, I'm going to have to carry this guy. He carried me the way through.
Was he like, you go and do something else, I'm just going to play as 2 people?
Well, it's just when we went to deck building, he was so good at this deck where I was like, whoa, yeah. And our deck was really good, to be fair. We had a way of cheating in Elish Norn, the old Elish Norn, -2, -2s.
Nice.
Yeah, that was...
Fortunately, we haven't seen any black yet. So Gavin's deck just looks a very Boris Synth style deck, but there is the black is a very light splash just because Refurbished Familiar from Modern Horizons 3 is really, really good in this deck.
It's a very good card.
We saw
it do a lot of work yesterday. I imagine we're going to see it a lot throughout this weekend as well. That and Sneaky Snacker coming up, Faven Charm. That's
Riving,
also one that's kind of stand out.
is another one, and all the Ponza decks. That's making a big splash at the minute.
So we're going for more value here. We're still being very patient here, not firing off this lightning bolt, playing again another.
The Galvanic Blast.
So now we've got, unless we've got a red land, untapped red source in hand, we're going to not get the extra value of being able to cast both these spells. And I feel like I thought maybe we were digging to try and find the removal spells, and maybe we'll try and dig for something else in this spot that I'm not fully aware of.
I'm wondering what Gavin's look for here.
Well, yeah, maybe he's just looking for that black source. Maybe he's got a handful of black cards and needs to take them out. But
one thing about Refurbished Familiar, obviously it forces the opponent to discard a card. That's really good against a combo deck, so you can just discard their payoffs. So maybe it's just, and also Refurbished Familiar is a flyer, so you can start chipping away flying damage. But it looks like the Wolves player is going to activate this Axebane Guardian and make a load of mana.
Yeah, I think what it's been targeted at the third path servant, so you can draw a bunch of cards to keep going deeper. And Gavin's like, nope, I'm going to stop that. I don't want that to happen. Does have the untapped red source as well, so is able to get 2 walls off the battlefield. And ideally, the 2 big walls in this deck. One generates mana, and one that is letting us go deeper in our deck by drawing more cards. Can we rebuild another Quirion Ranger? It's kind of redundant after the first one, but it is what it is. So we're gonna
make some mana.
Just a little floaty. And here comes... Is this the one that gives them haste? Yeah.
This is the one that gives them haste.
So now all creatures will gain haste. So when they enter the battlefield, they'll be able to tap for mana straight away. Does also have reach 0/3. That can be quite relevant against these 2 free flyers on the other side. But it does look like Gavin's kind of doing his game plan more.
There's a lot of overgrowth, and there's a crashing drawbridge that also gives your creatures haste. There's a couple of different variants in here.
But are we out of cards in hand now? I think that we've only just deployed everything.
No, there's one left.
Come on, black source off the top, familiar. Let's go. Can we? No, the Lambred doesn't generate mana, does it? It's draw a card, scry, gain life type effects.
It's a food. It gains you life.
Yeah, well, that's what it does in real life as well. Like, we're gonna crack that clue, cash that in. What else have we got going on here for Gavin?
These birds are gonna go in because you can only block one of these.
Is there a reason why we're not just trying to send a message with this Favorite Inspector as well? Or is there a reason that potentially we do need to have a blocker up because now everything does have haste? Maybe there's a big threat that can come in.
There's no merit to attacking with this Favorite Inspector, I don't think. You can just keep it behind.
You're on camera, though. It's true. When you're on camera, you've got to do these funny things like this for chat. Chat love it.
And there's a second one because what's better than one Favorite Inspector?
Well, that's the third one we've seen this game now. So... I feel like set up. There's the black source we've been looking for. So maybe that last card in hand is going to be a familiar or a tie blade, something along those lines. But passing the turn back, we're looking to be able to either generate more mana, go kind of semi-infinite, and then hit a payoff.
The thing is, even though Gavin managed to remove a couple of threats, the Wolves player is just rebuilt. Just through stuff like Axebane Guardian and just floating a load of mana and drawing a load of cards reactively. It's just... The board states like
it seems very hard to get chip damage in through this deck.
Yeah,
right?
It's a very stubborn deck.
Literally pitting up a wall.
Yeah, literally.
That's the first of my jokes today. If you'd like to tune in, maybe we get a little joke count on the side of the screen for everybody to keep track of. We're gonna add a little bit of mana. what we're going to do this for. Like, I'm looking at the deck. There's a lot of it just looks like it's dawdly cards that don't do much, and there's probably about 4 cards that actually do something.
I mean this in the nicest way possible. It looks like a cube deck.
Hey, look, you love cubes. So you
I do love
cube.
I have a Wolves archetype in my cube. That's
right.
why.
Here comes the counter, the land on the top there, so we can keep track of how much is floating. Looks like there's 3 currently.
Yep. You know it's a big. Turn when the old
the mana symbols.
Mana symbols come out with the dice.
You know the serious though when they've got like custom tokens made of it.
Yeah.
And there's a load of them in the room. There's a couple of token companies in the room that have generated their own tokens, made
like
their own
Arcade
art.
Posters here. He does.
And Arcade's
well.
here. Yeah, he completely sold out day 1 of the Eldrazi Spawn tokens.
I wonder why.
But maybe we'll find out this weekend. Who knows?
Maybe there's
what I mean?
some MH3 common that's pretty good in Pauper and in Modern Horizons 3 Limited.
It's also one of those ones like when I was going through my bulk from like opening boxes and stuff. I don't think I've pulled that one out, so I need to go back through my bulk now and have a look at how many of them I actually have myself because I'm going to need 4 because I do play the Ponza list.
There's a lot of spawns around.
Yeah, well, I've actually that's like, could someone give Gavin a clue token? Yeah, I've also pin it down. Like, can we get Gavin a clue token here? Oh, okay, right, yeah. So. I've just seen the reason for it. There must be one in the room. Is there one in MH3? Is there a clue token?
There has to be. There has to be some. I imagine something that investigates in MH3.
We'll be able to sort it. So I think we've got a judge down there just going through. There you go. We're moving it all up for us so we can have a little bit of a better look. I think that's 4 land.
Yep, 4 lands. And you got this Axebane Guardian that can tap for a bunch of green mana.
Tamio investigates. Yeah. So that makes clues. Right, I'm getting Gavin a clue token this weekend. It's happening. I'm literally gonna put it down to our team and be like, wait, someone go look at everyone drafting MH3.
Just steal a clue token from the table. Oh, there we go. What's more better than a paper cutout?
It's gone from bad to worse. Like when I said, "Can we get Darren a clue token?" I meant an actual clue token, not a scrap piece of paper.
Hey, it's better than nothing. It's better than an Ultimate Guard.
Oh man, okay.
Deck box insert.
Look at it.
But yeah, see what's going on. What will player wanting to do here? I'm in on tapping this Axebane Guardian for a bunch of mana.
I think we're going to say that every turn.
Yeah. Oh, here comes the blue
mana's flowing. And more mana's flowing. Okay, are we up to 19?
There's black mana in this as well. There we go. We have a clue.
Baboosh. You ask, chat. We provide. Now chat wants that that clue token.
That's a pretty sweet MH3 token. Is it MH3 or is it Fallout?
That looks Fallout-y to me. By the way, that set, like that TV show is great. If that set got released after that TV show, I would have bought so much more of that set. Really, really good.
I do need
TV
to watch
show.
it. I do like Fallout.
OTJ chat saying.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Right, some more mana floating. Classically, we've got the D4 dice there, which we have no idea what's on it. I think it's at a 1 right now, but
it looks like a 1.
Really helping coverage here.
Upwards.
We'll have to get some special coverage dice made. Some of those big casino dice really make it easy for us.
Yeah.
So now we're going down to 4 mana. Here comes the blue one. Is this the one that draws us cards? Let me have a little.
Yeah, a lot of the.
I think. Which one's that? That is not one of these. Not one of these.
I think it's
this one.
Yeah.
So it goes into the dungeon.
Yeah, this is the venture into the dungeon one.
So if you can basically, the more mana, if we can go infinite mana, we can infinitely go through the dungeon.
Yes.
That's scary.
That is scary.
That's also very cool, but very scary.
And this is the thing about Wolves combos. There's just like several different ways to win, and you're just playing no power creatures. Basically.
Yeah, it's like
just toughness matters. You're not playing like an assault formation style card and just turning sideways. Assault formations are uncommon anyway, but
it looks like it's basically the core of the deck is we're going to generate a bunch of mana, but we've got multiple different ways to spend that mana. Either drawing cards, draining life, dealing damage, or going through the dungeon, which will eventually win us the game anyway.
Yeah, and this is a really good example of like the creativity in Pauper. Like you don't see a Wolves combo deck in any other format.
Oh no!
Someone sat down going, "Yeah, I just want to build a fun deck with Wolves," and you know it's doing well at PauperGeddon. It did well in the event yesterday as well. Second place.
Maybe it's just in a really good position at the minute. You know, if everybody's going to be trying these MH3 cards and trying to gain their little bit of value, and you just go, "I'm playing play Wolves. I can block a lot. I can generate a lot of mana. Do my game plan. I'm going to run away with it."
there's just a lot of different ways you can approach the game.
Yeah, 'cause if you infinitely go through the dungeon, chat's pointing out, there's an infinite damage, right? There's the trap side of it is 5 damage, so you just got realistically go through 4 times, you can be able to get 20 damage across and win the game.
But you got to make them have it. That's the thing. You got to make them go for it.
Well, yeah, especially when you're on camera. You know what I mean? There can be a little bit of shortcutting, but that's where we would have to come in for it. But they need to represent, especially like Gavin comes across a lot like Reed, as in, I'm not going to concede. I'm going to make you go through the combo. Like, you need to show me one loop of this infinite before I'm happy to that you know what you're doing.
It happened. I've done it before when back when Gruul Scapeshift was a thing in Modern. I would make sure the opponent got the right amount of mountains to kill me, because if they didn't, I could live. So it's like,
was it LSV got the famous play where you top 8'd without the actual win con the deck?
Yeah, because no one just like
they just thought. It's LSV, yeah, sure, he's got it. Oh, I'll go to my sideboard. Oh, yeah, cool, scoop. Oh, yeah, she's a crack on. Was it always, I think it was top 8 or finals where it was then, he then realised his opponent was like, no, crack on. He's like, yeah, I don't have it. What a great story, by the way.
That is a great story.
Absolutely great bluff all the way through. Not many people are saying that. One of my favourite bluffs of his is the set up the wreckage done.
The vampire token is very
I
sweet.
Literally watched that multiple times because I think it's one of my favourite plays in Magic history.
I remember just like watching that Pro Tour, and just Twitter was just like blowing up for a week over it. It's
so
insane.
Good. So good. So more mana is being floated here.
It's freed from I think it's freed from the reel.
So what we're doing is basically we're tapping our
Axebane Guardian.
Axebane Guardian, generating loads of mana. Then we can untap it with the Quarrying Ranger, generate a bunch more mana, and we keep going through this song and dance, drawing cards to our deck, adding more walls to the battlefield. So every single time we tap this for more mana, we generate more mana than we did the turn before, and we're going to keep doing this until we get so much mana that
Gavin's
maybe he's talking for it. He's like, okay, I need to see how many cards you've got left in your deck. Does this come into it all? Is this going to be relevant? Oh, he's okay. I think they've demonstrated a loop of I will draw 2 cards every single time. And Gavin's like, sure, draw these cards. There's going to be a point you're either going to have 1 card in your deck or no more cards in your deck. It looks like there's going to be 1 left in the library.
They have to communicate that. Yeah, obviously they can't just be like, I draw my whole deck or whatever.
Okay, and Gavin's now going to see that's my win con. I'm going to drain you with my infinite mana. And Gavin's like, sure, you got me. Let's go to game number 2.
Need an F6 token.
Well, you can get them from some of the people in the room, and more importantly, you can get it from RK Post, who, of course, made the playmat for today. One thing I always love about the PauperGeddons, Damnations, any sort of event that's got Boose MTG, you can see the logo there above us on the screen. That's the TO and the organizer. They always have amazing art on all the playmats, on the T-shirts, on like even the life pads. Amazing. You can see both arts there. You see the Boose one on the bottom left, and you see the Damnation one top left there.
Yeah.
Both players using them. They go all out on their art, and I'm a big fan of tattoos and stuff like that. And it all comes across very tattooed to me.
It's very different, like branding than you normally see at Magic events, and it's a really refreshing change.
Right, let's have a little talk about sideboards. Okay, so like Gavin's a game down. We don't have his deck list in front of us, but we've got like an idea of what he could end up having in the deck. As long as I can find it. I've got to scroll to the right here, haven't I? That's how it works. Welcome to the internet, Will. There we go. Could have access. Of course, there is black in the deck, so could have...
It's got Tithing Blade in the sideboard, which doesn't really do a lot, unfortunately.
Looks like there's a lot of redundant walls.
You're playing a lot of walls, so it's just not going to do a lot unless you're able to like loop it in a way, but I just don't think that's like that's not like worth bringing in, I don't think.
Let me see if I can look at his deck list quickly, if there's anything. So... I've got Dust to Dusts. Oh my word, this handwriting is great. We've got the Shaman. We've got Relics of Genesis. We've got Fraven Charms. Cast into the Fire. This doesn't look like a great sideboard for this matchup. And in fact, looking at the deck in general, I think we've got to try and race. And this is going to be really hard to race a deck when they're pitting up 0-3, 0-4, 0-5.
And this is why Walls combo is really good, because it can just block that aggression, just soak it all up. Even trade away in some cases, because you're able to rebuild so quickly, and then you're just like, yep, here's the combo.
Does it get better for Wolves? So like we do have access to their deck list. We've got like a Pulse and Morosa. We've got Tamio Safekeeping. I have no idea what that card is. It's pro red, so we're probably not going to use that. Healer of the Glade. Healer when it ends the battlefield, gain 3 life. Okay, so that's going to be for the aggro decks. Yeah. We don't want that. That's a target one. What about Moment's Peace? Is this the matchup for Moment's Peace?
Potentially, because Gavin does need to race. So that could come in. But at the same time, I think the Wolves deck is just set up in a way that the matchup seems pretty decent.
Do you know what I love coming into Pauper is I'm still learning what half these cards do, and some I've never seen before.
A lot of them are just like draft commons.
I've never seen Warping Vigor before, but that
Really?
seems no, never seen that card. That's really cool. 2 mana regenerate each creature you control, instant speed. Seems great in a Pauper meta where you're not relying on one creature. And then we've also got the is it Scattershot Artist?
Scattershot Archer.
Archer, great against all these little 1 toughness flies I'm seeing floating around.
Glinthawk's a 2/2, but it does get rid of effect.
Familiar, but realistically, we didn't see any familiars that game, so it's not an open deckless tournament, so we might not know that they're in the deck. So might think, this isn't the matchup for it. 3 toughness, not going to be what we need to be able to get off the battlefield. Why doesn't it have reach? I feel like that card should have reach.
It's like Orcish Bowmaster also doesn't have reach, but it should have reach.
Well, that card does not need more text. I promise you, that card does not need. This isn't the format for it, but people really don't want that card to be around much longer in some formats. Personally, I love that card. I think it's great.
Yo, you picked up some this weekend.
I did. I've spent way too much money this weekend on little bits of cardboard. Mono Horizons 3. I knew it would be a card, a set that takes a lot of hit on my bank account, but. This weekend, seeing them I'll just pick those up. Yeah, I'll finish that play set.
Happened to me yesterday. I picked up a load of stuff for Commander, and I just picked up some, because it's PauperGeddon, so there's a good inventory of commons, so you can actually pick up just like decks and Pauper staples. I see a lot of like Thermocast and Riving Chrysalis in the Boose right now, which is kind of evident to how popular Ponza is coming. Especially
when do we stop calling it Ponza? When are we going to go to Red Green Eldrazi, Red Green Monsters, something along these lines? Red Green Ramp.
I mean, you can do that right now.
All right. Well, I'm calling it Red Green Eldrazi Ramp.
Red Green Chrysalis.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Yeah. The Chrysalis decks. Let's just go with that. It's got its fans and it's got its haters. Let's be honest. But that card we're going to see so much of it this weekend. I imagine does so much for 4 mana. Really good in those decks where you can power it out on early as turn 2.
With Utopia Sprawls and Arbor Elves, it's so easy just to churn out this threat that makes some spawns and that just somehow gets bigger for some reason.
But that's not even the great side of it. It also ramps you for the next turn after. You play your 4-drop, next turn you play your 7-drop, which cascades, and you can really just start running away with the game.
Then you're pod racing.
Yes, Star Wars references. I'm so happy on that. Okay, Gavin's finished up. I don't know if he's taking a mulligan here or not. I feel like this is a mulligan.
Yep.
Going down to 6. This doesn't look like a great match for him in paper in general, but what sort of is he looking for in the opening hand? The value game doesn't look like this is the sort of match where it's aggro. He wants to get on the battlefield early. He wants to get those lightning bolts point to face.
You want to pressure the life tower as early as possible because there'll come a point where the wall deck will just be walls up.
Okay.
You want to turn on your artifacts because Galvanic Blasters are really good because it not only removes a lot of the walls, it can go face. So dealing 4 damage to face could be relevant here as well.
Yeah, to be fair, we've got 16 plus 12. So we actually have 28 points of damage in the deck if we've got 4 full copies of each.
Borisym can be aggressive, but with this Black Splash, it does slow you down a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Really expecting more of the mirror type synergies going against the Grixis affinity list more than the Walls combo. And chat's come up with the name of the new Ponza list. It is Red, Green, Ponza, Gruul, Ramp, Eldrazi, Land Destruction. And that is what it'll be known as from now out as we kick off this game. Can
we abbreviate that into an initialism? That might catch on a little better. It's just full of consonants mostly.
Yeah, it is. Okay, here we go. We're off to the races. Gavin, still no creature after turn 2, but kind of just setting up for it.
We have an energy factor here, and there's a crashing drawbridge, which is going to be really good as it allows those wall creatures to have haste.
Classic.
It's not something that you normally want with walls when you think about them because they're not very aggressive, are they?
Can't turn them sideways. Nope. Oh, okay. Now we're seeing we're going to filter the mana into black mana, which with of course 3 artifacts means that this Refurbished Familiar, one of the new cards from MH3, is going to ETB. When it ETBs, target opponent discards a card. If they have no cards to discard, you get to draw a card. Really good if you're able to bounce this back and continuously keep playing it. Maybe attacking the hand is the way that Gavin's decided to win this match.
Yeah. You want to be attacking the hand while also maintaining pressure. Mm-hmm. I think that's the ideal thing here.
Well, we see the Blast is going to deal with the wall that ends the battlefield that turn. So Gavin's fully set up and knows what his game plan is going to be.
Also, more importantly, Gavin's actually on the play here, which just allows him to get a little more aggressive.
Yeah.
As well. Can be relevant.
Needs to keep restocking the hands, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Right? deplenish their hand or restocking. And because we don't have access to blue, we've gone for the the Boris list into Mardu with black. Not got too many more card draw spells in this. It is a very small
Here we
splash of
go.
black.
Here comes the core
But
Sky
here's some
Fisher.
value. Doesn't have the 4th land drop though, so can't replay it. That might end up being huge.
Would have loved a synthesizer there, but
All right, we're going to look at the top cards of our deck. Is this you put all creatures in hand or walls in hand? I can't remember. I think, just creatures. Because
eat the Stampede.
just 1 4 mana to find a 1/1. That's not a good return.
I mean, Quirion Range is a very good Magic card.
It's good in the decks. It's good in, yeah?
Yeah.
Not great. Not great in draft. Not great in draft.
Not great in draft.
I think we're going to start off straight away by filtering here.
We're going to replay this Refurbished Familiar, I believe. Just hopefully force the opponent just to keep discarding cards.
Okay, we go Galvanic Blast, end of turn.
Yep.
Because of course, if we keep the wall count low, then they still, if they do generate some of the walls, they can't get the mana value out of them. So
you want to keep that battlefield. You want to keep the battlefield clean. You want to keep replaying this Refurbished Familiar just to make them discard cards. So not only are they running out of cards, they're running out of ball presence because they're discarding these walls, which allows these flyers to get in. And Gavin's doing a really good job of just throwing on some pressure here.
Yeah, like with the Galvanic Blast, I'm wondering if is it worth using that's 8 damage so far, right? That's half our opponent's life total right now that could have gone to face, but slowing them down enough and hoping we get this chip damage in. I think we're kind of losing a bit of our reach, but we're gaining on board.
The thing is with Crashing Drawbridge, it just gives all your other walls haste. You just tap it, and when you have stuff like Axebane Guardian and all these really powerful activated effects, just making sure the opponent just can't, just go off.
They have to take a turn off for it because
he
it
has to
doesn't
take a turn off for it.
Can we keep restocking our hand though? That's the other one. Like
we need this, like an experimental synthesizer would be really good here if we have one. But no, we're just going to bounce the Energy Refractor and just go flying aggro.
Does Energy Refractor draw a card when it ETBs?
I believe so.
Let me have a little look. I'll have a little look. You talk about something interesting, and I'll pretend I'm doing something over here. But it's not in this list that's in front of me. Classic.
Wolves player is trying to rebuild here, and we just have an 0-3. And Gavin's in like a really good spot just to keep the aggression. So here comes back the Energy Refractor. You draw a card on ETB.
Thank you. Well, there you go. Work that one out. Didn't have to type
and
it
here
in.
comes 6 points of damage in the air.
Nice. That's where we want to be.
Yep.
That's going to drop us down to 10. So now potentially we're 1 combat step away and a Galvanic Blast from being able to take this one down. We're going to add another 2 powered flyer to the board. Bounce back the familiar, replay the familiar, value. This is what Gavin really said yesterday after playing. He was like, I need to cast more of this card. Every time I cast familiar, I was winning the game and I was really advantaged. When I wasn't casting it and not drawing it, I wasn't winning the game.
Yeah.
And yesterday he was playing just the straight black-white version.
Yes, he was playing Ozor Blade yesterday. But Tithing Blade didn't look really good in the room. So
that's enough. He managed to take it down.
See, that's what you need to do. Just being able to deploy an aggressive-ish curve, but you're basically bouncing this Refurbished Familiar back to hand to force them to discard. But you're also deploying Glint Hawks, which is this 2/2 flyer, so you're maintaining pressure as well. And Gavin also had the right removal there. Those Galvanic Blasts came in a crutch as well.
Really, really good. Yeah, I think like the Wolves deck, it needs a high variety of cards to kind of get its resources. It needs lots of cards on the battlefield, and if you can restrict that with removal or discarding them from hand, they can't get that mass quantity of Wolves on the battlefield to gain real big effects moving forward. And Garrett realized that in game 2. Obviously, game 1, it's closed deck list. Didn't ever know, so maybe kept a bit of I don't know what you're on, but this hand's pretty good. Actually didn't line up well against Wolves. Game 2, we saw him take a mulligan. Maybe it was a tactical mulligan to try and find some of the key cards that he needs in that matchup and was able to take it down, but will be on the draw now going into game 3. Yeah,
and sometimes when you're playing against these wall decks, it can be a little tricky to know which wall to tag first. So with Gavin's knowledge,
I was about to say experience is going to come in key there, right?
Experience is going to come key here, and giving Gavin's vast knowledge of Pauper, identifying
he knows about Pauper.
I think he does. I think it's true. But the thing is, you're playing so many random 0-3s and 0-4s. They just don't look good independently, like on their own. So knowing which ones to take out, it can be a struggle for some people. But Gavin just this Crashing Drawbridge needs to go because it has haste. It allows the wall player to get back in the game if they just have a good sequence of draw. Yeah.
So coming in from from other Eternal formats now, just dipping my toes into Pauper. It all looks like that to me.
Yeah.
Everything looks like a card that doesn't do anything. I'm like,
everything looks kind of unassuming because they're obviously they're commons.
Yeah.
Like some exceptions, of
and
course,
there's some crazy synergy comes out, and I'm like, whoa, that's really good.
Yeah.
Like I got so got by that. But that's part of the beauty of learning a new format, right? There's so many of them in Magic the Gathering, and as this is like a really nice competitive format. Personally, I think it's the most balanced format in Magic the Gathering currently. And, you and the panel have done a great job of that. Such a great job that we're going to get all three of you in the booth. Bear in mind, there's more than three of you in the panel. But, it's rare that we get two, let alone three of you in one location at once. So once we finish round 7 today, after round 7, we're going to get all three of you here in the booth. And I'm going to give you a little mini interview.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Ask you questions about Pauper, about how you come to decisions, what you think of MH3, etc. And if you've got any for us, chat, make sure you let us know in the chat, and I'll write them down or just tweet them at me, whatever you need to do. And I'll make sure those questions are asked.
It is really cool to find, because the Pauper format panel, it's a global thing. We're all over the world, so it is really, really nice to meet people in person, even though we're on different continents. Like I met Heisen this weekend for the first time, who's in Italy.
As he walks in the room.
As he walks in the room.
You mentioned him and he show up here.
But yeah, it's just really cool to finally have these conversations in person, which is not something we get to do often.
If you just tuned in and you don't know who these two are, you can see us down here. Look, we're at the bottom, like that corner.
I look like a quest marker because the sunlight keeps coming up on me.
It's like a halo. There's just like this aura around you. This follows you. You don't understand this. When you go into a dark room, it still follows you. You just have this aura of light going across.
You flatter me, Will. You flatter me.
That is, of course, Emma Parlow, one of the Pauper panelists. My name is Will Hall. Better on these things, Will Hall. Thy Will Hall. Will, one day, I like going to my Shakespearean British accent at some point, so I just randomly flick into it. I think we got a mulligan down on the Wolves combo, and I think Gavin's going to be keeping his opener. Maybe they're asking a judge a question in this one, because I think that would happen a lot, especially if I was taking play this weekend. I'd be asking judges, I'd be like, Judge, what does that do? Judge, that's in a different language, because obviously we're in Europe, where we typically see a lot of the bigger events happening in America. A lot of the cards in America tend to be English. In Europe, we've got so many different languages all coming together,
cards
and you're like, I don't know what that does. Can I get the Oracle text? I don't know what that does. Can I get the Oracle text?
Fortunately, there's a lot of judges working this weekend who I must say are doing bilingual, but also just doing a fantastic job of just running this event. I just see bright green t-shirts just running up and down the hall, just taking judge calls, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, they definitely stand out in those t-shirts. Yeah. They're up there with that new jacket that's going to be at MagicCon next week.
Yeah,
that orange one.
The bright orange one for Amsterdam. That's true.
Okay, I'm going to start writing some of these questions down on chat. I'm gonna make a little document on my laptop here. I'm gonna copy and paste all your questions across.
Still mulliganing here, it seems. So we're just still shuffling up.
Tell us about the event that you're playing in later on, and what's on the line for it, which you don't typically see.
So even though we have PauperGeddon this weekend, which is 656 players, there are a couple of side events going on across the weekend. So at 2 p.m. local time, there is a PauperGeddon beer event where if you win the event, you win a case of beer that has been brewed for this event. So naturally, I'm gonna have a stab at it and try and win some beer.
You wouldn't be British if you didn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the way for it.
And also, it's a really good side event. Say if someone was playing in PauperGeddon and they went like 02 or 03, it kind of acts like a rebound event of some sort as well. So they still get to play some Pauper even if they don't want to play the main event anymore.
Yeah, and which of course the main event, if you just tune in, 656 players kicking off this morning. This is round number 2. You can see up the top left-hand corner the R2 there. So we're going into it, and this is match number 3. So and next we're off to the races. We've got some keeps, and if our opponent's mulliganing quite low, being able to get that refurbished familiar on the battlefield ASAP is going to be huge.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty good because if there's one thing you want to punish people for mulliganing, you want to take their best. You want to force them to discard cards or take the best card out of their hand.
I am clipping all these questions that you're asking in chat, and I shall.
Here comes the energy refractor, where Gavin draws a card. So it looks like we have all 3 cards of mana, which is good. And here comes the Aquarium Ranger.
Yeah, it's like play draw, okay? Because on the play they're able to get one more creature down before you get your one more answer and threat down.
It's very relevant in Pauper. It's very permanent heavy.
It is very permanent heavy, but it also comes across that the creatures are underpowered opposed to the spells. The spells in Pauper they're powerful in Legacy. One of the more powerful formats we'd have in Magic the Gathering, where the creatures aren't as powered, but it's got this really good balance of that. It just makes sense. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you can have this 6/5 with trample, but that's actually a really powerful creature in this format where, in formats where you've got Counterspell and Brainstorm, etc., and Dark Rituals, there's powerful...
You know about Dark Rituals.
Oh, I love a Dark Ritual. That's back when I was playing as a kid. You know what I mean? Dark Rituals. Very, very powerful card. Shout out to all the Dutch Pauper League. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's what we had yesterday. We had the top Pauper player, which obviously was crowned this morning, but yesterday we had the whole event, 7 rounds of Magic plus the top 8, where all the different communities around Europe have all sent their finest players that managed the top 8 yesterday to battle it out, and we managed to crown that champion this morning. And of course, that deck was the new, not new, but the Gates deck. That's
the core Gates deck. It's been around for a little while now. It's a fun Squadron Hawk. I'm going to brainstorm and play lots of Gates style deck. It's again, that's another cool innovation of Pauper. It's not something you really see anywhere else anymore. So I suppose
the other thing is, no matter what set is printed, if it's modern legal, if it's command legal, the commons, they're Pauper legal.
Downshifts are a pretty big part of Pauper, which is what makes Pauper very different from other formats. They can just ignore the downshifts because they're probably legal anyway, but whenever there's like a Masters release or maybe a Horizons release and they reprint something and it gets downshifted, we have to pay attention to that. Obviously, we've paid attention to it recently with stuff like All That Glitters and Monetary Swift Spirit in Commander Masters. So it's something we just have to keep aware of.
Right, overgrown battlements, that's going to eat a Galvantic Blast, and then we're going to add to the battlefield one of these...
Winding Waves one.
What's the Griffin called?
The Griffin?
What's this one called?
Oh, this is Glinthawk, sorry.
Glinthawk. It's a hawk, not a griffin. It looks like a griffin to me.
That's what confused me. Is like, there's a griffin on the battlefield.
It looks like a griffin. It is a griffin. Here's some elves. They're going to come to the battlefield. That's Lorien Elf. This has just got like a gazillion reprints as well. And every time, like I've got like one secret layer ones now. I need to upgrade the newer secret layer ones. It's going to be pretty crazy.
Yeah, I've got a few different versions. One of my favorite cards that I own is a Beta Llanowar Elves.
Flex.
Yeah, it's in my queue. It's not in like.
I'm gonna have to sit over here a little bit. That flexing you got going on. How can Gavin rebuild? Again, he's doing a good job currently of kind of taking out the key threats while generating himself a little bit of value.
Replaying this energy refractor.
Gets another land another card to hand, not land to hand. Could be a land. I don't know.
Could be.
You don't know.
We're going to do Glinthawk Beaks though, which is very similar to what happened in the previous game.
10-turn clock. Got to get there. Got to get it in when you can. Especially when there's no defenders on the other side with a reach.
Yep.
Does have access to all 3 color sources of mana if he wants to keep deploying something here. There was 4 artifacts on the battlefield, so if we do have familiars, they will be able to come down for 1 mana. Of course, affinity, huge mechanic in Pauper in general, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of those that mechanic throughout the weekend. But it looks like we're going to be using 2 mana here. What are some of the 2 mana spells that we've got going on? Let's have a little look if I can get his deck.
I'm looking at chat with the fun falconry fact.
Fun falconry fact, a griffin is a falcon. See? Basically, chat just said I was right. And that's all that matters. that's how I read that message. Is Will is right.
So Gavin played a Core Sky Fisher bouncing back that energy refractor, just wanting to apply pressure in the air. We're just playing some elves at the minute, which isn't really doing a lot for this Wolves deck. So you want to just make the most of the relatively empty battlefield, considering how explosive Wolves can be with their 0-3s and 0-4s.
Sorry, I'm in chat. Is there a better card that Gavin wished he was bouncing back instead of a 2 mana one, potentially maybe a 1 mana?
Maybe Experiment the Synthesizer would be really nice because you can just start churning and just get more lands into play and just get more value. But Energy Refractor's doing a good job. It draws you a card on ETB.
Trying to work out what that wall there that's just been played is. That is a leaf caller. So 1 green mana, add any 1 mana of any color to your pool. Okay, so this is just another sort of filter effect.
Yeah,
so this is how we can get our blue mana, get our red mana, get our black mana for all the different various spells we've got in our deck.
Yep.
Okay. Not super valuable right now. Again, it's just a 1/1.
There's just no walls right now. We've got some Quirion Ranger stuff we can do. Got got 2 Korean Rangers now.
What's like the fail rate of these decks? Like obviously at the minute we're drawing one half our deck, but not the great half that we need currently. But like we do need some of these cards if we need to combo off. Is there always going to be a big fail rate in this deck, especially because we don't have cards to go fill and find
really, considering our Wolves player did mulligan a few cards, and Gavin did have the Galvanic Blast when needed as well to get rid of the Overgrown battlements. So Gavin hasn't really punished the mulligan, the aggressive mulliganing from the Wolves player, because there isn't no like refurbished familiar. It's just like, yeah.
We're calling it walls. I don't see any walls right now. There is nothing. It looks like an Elves deck right now.
I mean, Elves deck is a deck in Pauper. You don't see it as often because there's just a lot of sweepers in the main board these days. So it's just really hard to... Like, if you play Elves, you're playing Elves because you really love Elves, not because it's like the best choice at the moment.
Energy Reflection, that's going to come down.
Cast for the third or fourth time this game.
I think it's like fourth time just this game, right?
And that's the power of these Boris Mardu Sims decks. You just get to replay some of these excellent cantrips. I love it.
Let's have a little look while it's going. What's the land that can go to or like it's I forgot the mechanic. You pay the mana to discard it, and then you can go find channel. The channel. There's the blue channel wall, isn't there? Did I see this draft of Phantasm?
No, it's transmute. You're often
transmute is what I'm thinking. Yeah. Transmute. It's another way to go find some of the key pieces that we need.
An old Ravnica City Guilds mechanic.
I used to play that as a one-of in my blue-red Living End deck.
I remember playing that deck in Modern with As Foretold and Electro Dominance.
Yep.
I had Splinter Twin Copium as well.
I used to play Quicken in it, so I could do it instant speed as well and really catch
very
people off guard.
nice.
It's like, right, okay, here comes a Lemus Bread. I'm going to keep calling it Lemus Bread no matter what.
I'm not going to stop you.
ETB, draw another card. Again, a lot of these 2 mana kind of get some sort of value by drawing a card, and then once it leaves or I sacrifice it, I get some other more extra value with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, transmute. It's not transmute. It's not cycling, not channel. It's transmuting.
Yep.
I should have known it. Amulet Titan, transmuting. We all know.
You play Amulet Titan?
I've played Amulet Titan.
Okay.
I wish I was good enough to play it because I think it's pre MH3 was the best deck. Now MH3, I don't know what's going to be going on. Planes to the turn.
Find out next weekend.
More Hawks.
Yep.
Bouncing. More value.
Gavin's just trying to repeat of game 2, where he's just wanted to establish this board just full of flyers because the wall player is just not doing a whole lot right now.
I'm getting Gandalf in my head going, fly you fools, as he goes to the air. It's not, I've spoken about this before, it's not a super powerful mechanic like, a bit of keyword flying in most other formats. But in this format, having any sort of evasion is really, really good. So we said the creatures are undervalued.
That's why stuff like Sneaky Snack has been popping up this weekend. It's a very evasive threat from Modern Horizons 3, seeing play in the Madness Burn deck. Because it's just a great card to discard.
It is a great card. And it generates so much value in those decks as well. We saw it yesterday, just turning and burning. But I think it lost in the top 4 yesterday. But you should be able to go find those top 8 deck lists if you want to go find them now. On I believe what's the website that we've been using? It's like that's What's My Table. That's not the website. There's a website that I'm sure we'll be able to put it into chat.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to see it. Hey, yes, you can find me at Amsterdam next week. I'll be running around playing some modern. Pauper Wave, there you go.
Yeah.
Pauper Wave is where you can go find all the deck lists from yesterday and also today. Here comes a one-sided sweeper by Gavin out the sideboard. That is huge. I'm going to say that's game winning. You've just 4-for-1.
It's definitely game winning now because you've got like 8 power in the air. So
okay, it's got to be a really good wall, and Gavin's got to have nothing. I think Gavin's got one card in hand, which we know about because he just bounced it back.
Yeah, it's the energy factor.
No, it's the Lammas Bed, right? The reflectors in the graveyard.
Sure, yeah.
We sacrificed that one to do 1 damage to everything. There's the mountain into
Relic of Progenitors.
Okay, that came in. That could be a little bit of a cycler if we need to. But yeah, I think he's just done enough.
And
There's the handshake.
Gavin wins.
Turns out Gavin Verhey is good at Magic the Gathering and Pauper in general. So congratulations to him as we head back to the booth. Will Hall, Emma Parlow. I don't know if we're going to try and get. Are we going to try and get a backup feature match in? I'm getting the head shake that we don't have a backup feature match. How long is left of the round, please, producer?
Yeah.
The round's finished?
The round's finished, man.
Oh, that was quick. Okay. Well,
Nice.
that means we can have a little talk about PauperGeddon and what's been going on and what people are going to see this weekend before we head off, because I know you've got a side event to go. And we need to get a little bit of lunch before that.
Yeah,
That's one.
you can't play Magic on an empty stomach.
You can't, but luckily, even at PauperGeddon, one of these, it's just such a good event all round. It is by the players for the players. So if we're both, we want to go get some food. Where are we going to get some food? Oh, it's going to be this overpriced. No. They've got a load of food trucks come outside,
really cool.
and it's really good value for really good food, top quality food. There's even an ice cream truck out there, or gelato, where people like to
Gelato was really good. The pistachio one was really, really good.
It's ice cream, damn it, I tell you. Make the world no. Anyway, so we're going to shoot off. We're going to come back with a new set of casters. We might see you. Well, we're definitely going to see you at the end of the day. We might see you, depending. If we see you before round 7, we know that your side event has not gone well.
Yeah, that's basically.
But if your side event's going well, we'll end up catching up with you in round number 7. So hopefully, chat, you've enjoyed it, and hopefully you can stick around for some more Pauper action. So hit that follow button, and we'll see you later on.